You know that sudden rush of inner relief you feel when someone cancels plans at the last minute? You think you should probably feel guilty about it, but instead it feels like a heavy weight has just been lifted right off your chest. For years, you might have wondered if there's something wrong with you. We live in a culture that treats wanting to be alone like it's a flaw, a symptom of social anxiety, or a sign that you're just not fun. But what if I told you that preferring your own company isn't a weakness at all? What if it's actually a sign of incredible psychological strength? Today, we are going to dive into the psychology of people who prefer solitude. And trust me, by the end of this video, you are never going to apologize for staying in on a Saturday night ever again. First, we have to clear up a massive cultural lie. Society constantly confuses being alone with being lonely, but psychology tells us these are two completely different experiences. Loneliness is that painful, distressing feeling that your social needs aren't being met. You can be surrounded by dozens of people at a crowded party and feel profoundly lonely. Chosen solitude, on the other hand, is a completely different world. It's a space where you can be entirely by yourself and feel totally whole, content, and at peace. So why do some of us crave this quiet space while others run from it? It comes down to a few rare psychological traits. Reason number 1. Your nervous system is basically a supercomputer. Research on highly sensitive people shows that about 15 to 20% of the population has a nervous system that processes sensory and emotional information much more deeply than the average person. It's not that you're fragile, it's that your brain is quite literally running more mental processes per social interaction. Every conversation costs you a little bit of energy. You're picking up on subtle emotional cues, reading between the lines, and analyzing the interaction on multiple levels. So when you come home from a group trip and need 3 days of total silence to feel human again, you aren't being antisocial. Your brain just naturally burns more fuel around others, and solitude is how you recharge your battery. Reason number 2. You have an absolute zero-tolerance policy for fake behavior. People who prefer solitude actually hate socializing. They just hate surface-level socializing. You probably can't stand the polite small talk about the weather or conversations where nobody is actually listening to each other. Your brain craves depth. You want to talk about ideas, psychology, and what makes life meaningful. Because of this, you naturally prefer quality over quantity. You would much rather have 2 incredibly close friends who respect your boundaries than a contact list of 800 acquaintances where you have to put on a fake persona just to fit in. You rely on your own internal emotional regulation, which means you don't need external validation from a crowd to know your own worth. Reason number 3 is my favorite. Solitude unlocks a hidden superpower in your brain. When you aren't constantly managing group dynamics, reading faces, or performing expected social scripts, your mind gets the bandwidth to enter what psychologists call divergent thinking mode. This is the mental state where you can explore multiple solutions, make unusual connections, and generate completely original ideas. In the quiet, you build something called self-concept clarity. This means you know exactly who you are, what you value, and what you think before a room full of people tries to influence you. It's a kind of cognitive independence that is incredibly rare today. But I do want to offer one gentle warning. If you are someone who loves being alone, you have to learn the difference between recharging and retreating. Recharging restores you. It makes you feel present, regulated, and capable of returning to your life with energy. Retreating, on the other hand, is when solitude becomes a hiding place to avoid life, and that can slowly turn into numbness or disconnection. As long as your solitude is voluntary and chosen, psychology shows it leads to improved moods and incredible self-reflection. Just make sure you're using the quiet to heal, not to hide. In a world that profits from our constant distraction and makes stillness feel unbearable, choosing to sit comfortably with your own thoughts is one of the most powerful things you can do. The person with 2 close friends and a rich internal life isn't failing, and the person with 50 acquaintances isn't winning. Human connection exists on a wide spectrum, and your place on that spectrum deserves to be honored, not pathologized. So the next time you politely decline an invitation to just stay home and be with yourself, remember, you're not missing out on life. You're just enjoying a different part of it. If this video felt like I was reading your mind today, please hit that subscribe button. Leave a comment below telling me your favorite thing to do when you finally get some time completely alone. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.